Ever since my sweet 6-year-old baby boy eyes first set their sights on a crumpled up Shelter Pokemon card on the kindergarten playground, I, like many others, have wanted Pokemon to be real. But alas, my beloved Shelter was just a lifeless image printed on a piece of cardboard. And Shelter in the video games isn't that much better. For the longest time now, Pokemon in the video games have just been creatures that appear when battle starts, sound like a broken fax machine, wiggle around a little bit, and then disappear once battle is done. I simply refuse to believe that a massive rock snake the size of a double-decker bus can just collapse after battle and completely disappear underneath 2 to 3 inches of unmaintained grass. But it was fine. It was 2007 on the Nintendo DS. Technology wasn't that advanced yet. George Bush was still the president. It was about as good as it could be for the time. But it's been 15 years. 15 years. 15, count them, 15 years. And Pokemon Legends Arceus finally feels like the evolution that this series has desperately needed for so long now. And I love it. Pokemon are livelier than ever and actually feel like a part of the world that they've supposedly inhabited all this time. Little flocks of Starly will fly away when you get close to them. And then Luxray wants to eat you, and Spheal does this. He just rolls around. I didn't know Spheal did that, did you? Mommy, sorry, mommy, sorry, mommy. And I can finally live out my childhood dream of throwing rocks at Bidoof, and it's fucking awesome. My $60, you can have my firstborn. Thank you for giving this to me, baby. I really appreciate it. There are also a bunch of new evolutions and designs for old Pokemon that were previously unlovable and no one's favorites. Look at Basculin. Basculin was terrible. I mean, I can't think of a single person who saw Basculin and was like, that's it, dude. And now we've got Basculagon or whatever, and he's like a big ghost fish, and he's awesome. Game Freak nailed the Pokemon part of a Pokemon game. And that's how it should be. Pokemon Legends Arceus isn't some silly little DS game anymore. It's running on the most powerful hardware that Nintendo has ever made. The Nintendo GameCube.
Nice shot!
Thank you. Thank you very much. The game just doesn't look that great. It doesn't really look like it came out in 2022. I swear I don't play Pokemon just for the graphics. I know it looks rough, but I'll still buy it. I swear, please, just take my money. The whole game seems to suffer from a very weird lack of polish that could have been easily solved by a few more months in the oven. At the same time, though, I'm willing to look past these problems because Game Freak did an outstanding job writing the world of Legends Arceus. In the game, you play as a self-insert character transported from the modern day back in time to when people were terrified of being maimed by a rogue Scyther. The Pokeball has only just been invented by this dipshit with a stupid hat, and it's your job to develop the first Pokedex ever so that society can advance beyond its fear of the Pokemon living beyond its walls. The cast of characters in this game are all written pretty well and are all really likable, and many of them are heavily implied to be the ancient ancestors of some series favorites later down the line. Just like I'm heavily implied to be the ancestor of Captain Mars, if you know what I'm saying. But it feels like for every single thing I love about this game, there are also just a lot of really strange design decisions that don't really make sense to me. Like, why can't you battle other players? Why can't you breed Pokemon? I decided to look up the reasons behind these missing features on Twitter, which honestly, I don't know what I expected. Opening Twitter was my first mistake, but it was far worse than I ever could have thought. This time around, Game Freak decided to change how the speed stat worked, and apparently Game Freak didn't want to spend the time needed to figure out how to make that work in a multiplayer setting, and just said, screw it, we don't need battling. And the reason for breeding being missing is somehow so much worse. Apparently, the justification for breeding being removed from Pokemon Legends Arceus is because, according to Pokemon canon universe lore, breeding was not yet discovered until modern times by Professor Elm in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, so it actually wouldn't make any sense canonically in the Pokemon universe, which is just an insane take, dude. I mean, come on. You're telling me that not a single person across hundreds of years ever saw two Rapidash get together, do whatever Rapidash that love each other very much do, and lay an egg? Not one? All of the issues that I have with Pokemon Legends Arceus are very easily made up for by the fact that the game is just outstanding in every single regard otherwise. And it's really disappointing to see that Game Freak didn't just take 2 or 3 more months to polish up the game, optimize the graphics and the engine, and find a way to make breeding and battling work in the context of this game. It's just kind of a shame. I'm definitely not the first person on the internet to say this, but it really feels like Pokemon's yearly release schedule is starting to result in corners being cut and sacrifices being made. Game Freak is onto something amazing with all of the changes and improvements they made in Legends Arceus, but it really feels like they just need to give themselves more time. In the process of writing and recording this video, Game Freak actually just announced that there is a brand new generation of Pokemon games coming out before this current year ends. And so it doesn't seem like this development crunch cycle is going to be ending anytime soon, which is kind of disappointing. Despite my uncertainties with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I'm still holding on to hope that these brand new games will be truly groundbreaking like Legends Arceus almost was. And despite my reservations about them, I'm definitely going to be picking the Pepper Dinosaur at launch. And maybe that's the problem.